Hey, future me. So I had a sort of sobering moment today, and it's not a sad it's not a sad topic I want to talk about today, but I think sobering is the best word I can use to describe this feeling. Just for some context in the past, when I say these sobering moments, there are things like I think the strongest relation or like example is the time that I was in Japan and I was there feeling overwhelmed, feeling so dumb about myself. I had these dreams about living in Japan one day for, temporarily and just exploring and whatnot. And I realized, like, oh my God, I don't know any Japanese. Like, life is so hard here. I don't even know how to take care of myself. Like, this is a foreign country. Things are so difficult. I'm so dumb for even thinking that. That kind of sobering moment. But I would say this time wasn't as negative, but it certainly has really led to some really interesting emotions today. So I kind of want to talk about it. I think I'll just kind of recap a little bit of what happened today and why I kind of landed on this weird moment. So I think ultimately I opened up FL Studio for the first time in a while, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to make a song. I'm gonna work on a production first song. This isn't something that I've done in a while. I haven't like made a song starting with the production in a long time. I opened up Splice. I was like, okay, I'm gonna use the new. I'm gonna use the new sample. I'm gonna maybe play around with the splice, the new stack feature. It basically lets you like mix different samples together with a sample that you choose, and it kind of like picks ones that would fit under certain parameters that may work together. And I like played around with it a little bit. I dragged a couple samples into FL, and I was like, "Wow, this sounds really bad. This sounds really fucking bad." And it's not the first time I felt that. Not the first time at all. But in that moment, I kind of realized like, oh wow, my production skills have really atrophied a lot, like a lot. Um, and it was just interesting because okay, I have a sort of script, but I might go off the script. I'll just kind of talk off the cuff. And I'm kind of figuring out as I'm saying it, so it may not be completely accurate or make sense. But I think what happened there was I had kind of built up this kind of idea in my head that I somehow was good at producing all of a sudden. Not to say like I'm trying to like discourage myself or put myself down or anything, but I think I had built up somehow over the past year or so, maybe since I last produced a lot. I don't know. I just feel like because I did so much repetition, because I did so many, like projects and whatever, I guess I felt like I was better than I thought. And so today, when I open up the project and start throwing samples in, and I'm like, wow, this really sucks. I sort of had that feeling again of when I first started producing and feeling really shitty about myself. Okay, I don't want to say really shitty. I didn't feel really shitty this time, but I kind of felt like, oh, my image in my head of my skills did not match what I'm seeing in the DAW. Like what I thought I was capable of is not translating. What I'm making here is not good, but I thought I was good. I did all these projects and whatnot, and that's why I kind of say it's a sobering moment because I feel like it kind of made me think a little differently about. Okay, I don't want to say made me think differently. It made me really be honest and reevaluate my like skills. I guess it made me feel really honest or like made me think like let me be really honest about my skills right now. Like I just feel like my production's not there. And it's funny because it kind of happened all very quickly. I'm making it out to be this long drawn out explanation. This is all happening very quickly. My immediate thought after that was Google music production courses, and I thought to problem solve, like I'm gonna, maybe there's some online course or something, or maybe there's a class I can sign up for. And then I went to Udemy and I checked out classes and stuff, and it's just that was such a interesting experience because it made me realize like, wow, to put a positive spin on it, despite myself feeling and acknowledging that my skills aren't great, my gut reaction was to problem solve and like help myself and look into how can I get better? How can I improve this thing? Rather than just straight up giving up and be like, oh, I'm never gonna do this. So that was kind of reassuring in a way. And again, this all happened so quick, but I think it's almost like in hindsight a good sign because for something like Japan, when I visited in 2018 and I felt like so dumb and I had that sobering moment, I gave up. I really told myself it's never going to happen. I'm never going to live here. I'm never going to learn Japanese. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. That's such a strongly negative reaction. But this one was more like, ah, shit, like, oh, I'm not as good as I thought. Like, I need to go fix that. So I guess in that sense, it was reassuring. Like, it's good. Like, that I don't know if I need to do some more subconscious work of myself or what, but it kind of surprised me because I don't know how I had built up this like maybe delusional belief that I was good at producing all of a sudden, even though I clearly have not kept up with it. And it's like it's like going back to the gym after you haven't been in like 2 years or like a year or whatever, right? Like of course you're not going to be at where you once were. And I had a taste of that today. Let me see if there's any other points I want to talk about there. So I guess one learning was, like I said, my gut reaction was let me problem solve. I'll look up a course or something and how to get better at this. But another kind of thought that crossed my mind that I think was really helpful was it made me think about how I'm studying Japanese. And I was like, I'm using WaniKani and doing my lessons. It made me think like, oh, I just need to like do my lessons for music production. Like, I shouldn't expect to be good, right? Like I haven't been keeping up with it. I haven't like started a production in probably like 6+ months. It's been a long ass time. And, I haven't been doing it regularly. So, I just need to get my reps back in. I need to get back on that horse and like, maybe find a course or, watch a YouTube video or whatever to like get go or just do more reps or just keep trying this thing. And yeah, it just was, it was an odd thing. I wasn't expecting to feel that. And it's so interesting because I was so motivated to like come and produce today. There's really no reason for me. Like, in all honesty, I have a couple other things I should be preparing for, but this whole production thing today started because I felt so excited to do it. I watched like a music video or two, and when I was eating dinner, and then after dinner, I was just so excited. I came straight to my laptop to like try to make some music, and was very quickly met with the bad production, and then that sobering feeling. Yeah, but I think it kind of made me reevaluate. So I think that was kind of the situation. But going to the realizations I've had. So I guess one realization is I don't know where I got that cocky and maybe overzealous attitude from, that I was like the shit, and that this music thing came so easily for me. Like maybe this is part of that whole subconscious believing myself thing, like believing I can do it and taking action thing. And, I still believe that I can do it. I think it's just maybe like thinking too positively or optimistically without taking any action had made me a little delusional, I guess, because I kept telling myself, like, you can make this thing work. You're going to do it now. You have all the research. And it's like, yeah, like, slow your roll. Like, you still have to put in the work. It's not like you're pumping out like hit after hit or anything like that. You're still learning. You're still developing your skills. So I think I just had to kind of remind myself that. And it almost, it felt, I don't want to say a wake-up call, but it felt, like I said, sobering. Like I just was so real with myself. Like, yeah, your production skills are not there. You just need to practice more. And let me see if I feel like there's another topic about that. Oh, okay. So I remember now. I didn't write it down, but I think this is just a thought that crossed my mind. It kind of made me feel a little more reassured and like realistic about taking this music thing slowly, because it's like, man, like, yeah, I could rush it and I could like force myself to output stuff, and then I could like, pump it out and then hope that people like it or whatever. But it's like, man, just, it's going to take a while. So like, don't drop everything else in your life to make this music thing work. Okay, look, I say that right now, but I have I have a caveat to that. Okay. So I guess the takeaway, if I were to summarize right now, but now I'm starting to think in a contrarian thought. So I think I told myself at the time when I had that thought, like, okay, don't drop every other aspect of your life for this music thing. Like, this is just one facet, one track of like a goal that you'll have, but don't sacrifice everything else, like friends, family, relationships, for this music thing. I think that's the thought that kind of crossed my mind. um, but I will, here's the caveat now. I really want to stay aware, and I want to keep an eye on that thought, because I don't want this to turn into some excuse to tell myself, well, it's just a hobby, like I'm never going to make it a business thing. Cuz just a few, like, I don't know, weeks or months ago, I was feeling like I'm going to make this creative thing happen and whatnot. I don't know. I think, but I think I've evened it out, right? I think I have become, I've landed in the middle. I think in the past I was too all or nothing. I think I'm starting to get better at this balance of like reality check of like, okay, let me be real with myself. I don't have the skills yet to really be a successful musician, but at the same time, I'm not giving up on that dream. I think that's where I am right now, and that's what I need to process this a little bit further. I think there's some more going on here, but I think at the moment that's what crossed my mind, and I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on the whole like, oh, like don't drop everything, and like, this can stay in the background type thing. I think what I'm trying to say by that is like, don't put the pressure on. Like, keep the excitement going and keep working on music and strive for more, but like, it shouldn't be the sole focus of life, I think, is what I'm trying to tell myself. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that was really a lesson, more just kind of, yeah, speaking out loud my thoughts of what crossed my mind today, because it was really odd. I wasn't expecting it. The fact that the music production thing I got all excited after dinner and then came straight to my laptop. That was kind of odd to begin with, and then to get like disappointed, or not disappointed, to be let down by my abilities was a weird thing. I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to be all of a sudden like inspired to do music, first of all, and then I wasn't expecting to like, like make such a crappy production. But anyways, I think the key is, yeah, I think I approached it in a level-headed way this time. I had that sobering moment, but I didn't treat it negatively. My instinct at the time was to like problem solve and like, how do I improve this? And I think at right now, the outcome that I've landed on is, yeah, take it a little slower. I don't know where you got this delusion that you were so good all of a sudden and that you could like shit out like great productions. I don't think that was the case ever. Maybe I just got really cocky with the whole um, like the past few videos and hyping myself up about writing music on guitar and stuff. Producing and writing are different things. Like producing of, like the instruments and everything in FL, and songwriting on a guitar are two different things. So I think I just gotta like realize that, or I think I do realize that, but I have to understand that and not let it demotivate me from completely like working on stuff. And I don't think it has. I think it's just, yeah, just speaking my thoughts right now. And very interesting, very interesting. And I will close with an interesting situation in pop culture right now, or like the K-pop industry, I guess you could say. So New Jeans' CEO Min Heejin is or got kicked out of Adore, which is owned by HYBE, and HYBE, it put in another person as the CEO, or they said like they were gonna demote Min Heejin to like some other role, a CEO or something. I can't remember, but basically Min Heejin's gonna reject it, and they put in another CEO. And New Jeans themselves had done a live stream, like yesterday or something, and basically saying like if Min Heejin isn't reinstated, they're basically gonna quit, is what it sounds like. And everyone online is making this whole ruckus about it, like, oh man, this is so sad. Like, there's people on the sides of Min Heejin or whatever, or like they just, I don't know, all this stuff. But the moral of the story there is it made me kind of feel reassured in my promise to myself that in my music career, I want to be independent and self-sufficient. Because there was a point today, before I watched the TikToks talking about the Min Heejin and the New Jeans like demanding whatever. Like basically, I think they low-key will end. I think New Jeans will probably end after this. But anyways, before all that, before I saw that on TikTok, I had this thought to myself where I was like looking up the production courses and I was like, man, this is just too hard. Like, should I just outsource? Should I just like work with other producers and like rely on another producer to get me or to get productions at a level that I want to release my music to? And look, I'm not saying I will never do collabs, but I still don't feel completely comfortable relying on that and not being skilled enough myself to do production because of situations like New Jeans. Like I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but just the fact being that New Jeans is like a K-pop group, and K-pop groups typically like they're not doing the writing, they're not doing the producing, they're singing, sure, but all these other people, they're so dependent on these other people for their success. And I've had this thought to myself even before thinking about K-pop or how the K-pop industry works or anything like that. I kind of made this promise to myself in the past that I want to be self-sufficient. I want to sing, I want to write, I want to produce all on my own so that no one can ever take this away from me and I have full control over it. And I think that was a good reminder and maybe a message from the universe. Like, kind of crazy how these life events are happening right when I need them. But, I had that thought. Like I said, I was doing the production and I was like, man, this really sucks. Maybe I should outsource. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break and scroll through TikTok. And I saw the whole thing about New Jeans. And I was like, wow, never mind. not giving up the production side of things to, quote unquote, blow up or be successful as a musician. Now the thing I think that did make me lead, or the thought that did lead me to, was I think I can still rely on my other skill sets to get some momentum going in a music career, and eventually, maybe one day, if I'm successful, if I'm successful enough to have producers wanting to produce for me, then that would be the ideal. But in the meantime, I've said this to myself before, like focus in on the skills that I am confident in, like playing guitar and singing raw. So maybe my first few songs will just be guitar and vocals, like work with what I got. I told myself that, work with what I got. And it's so interesting, dude, because I told myself these lessons and then life happens and you go through all these things and you don't remember. So yeah, I think in this case that is the thought I had. Like, your production skills aren't there yet, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't release anything. So maybe I'm thinking now, maybe I just focus on my acoustic songs, release those while I continue to work up my production, and then the next iteration of my music will be what I'm capable of after I feel like I've made some more progress on producing. So anyways, all that to say, I think I'm proud of myself. Okay, I don't think I'm proud of I'm proud of myself for having the sobering realization that, okay, my production skills aren't up to par, and actually feeling proud. I'm taking a positive spin on it now. I need to tell myself this because I'm proud of myself, actually, that my initial gut reaction was not, oh shit, I need to give up on this music thing. No, my initial gut reaction was like, what courses do I need to look up and watch to learn this stuff? So that's a good sign. The other sign was, watching how this kind of New Jeans situation is playing out. Really unfortunate, but I'm kind of analyzing it and like telling myself, like, okay, don't want that to happen to me. Not to say that would ever happen to me being in a K-pop group or anything, but just like having your success and career, in someone else's hands. I don't want that. So, and to some degree, right? Obviously, like, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not like, not to say that, like I said, it's not that I will never collaborate with other artists. I think it's just in that case, like specifically for them, they literally cannot. They don't have the skills to do it without the company. And for me, it's like I'm still working on it. I'm working on the production on the side, and I want to develop some level of mastery on it. But anyways, it's gonna take time. And I think I need to remind myself that I'm gonna need to treat this production thing like learning Japanese, right? I have to like do my exercises. I have to practice. I have to keep it up. It's just like exercising like your muscles. Like you're gonna atrophy if you don't use them. So I shouldn't be surprised, really. Anyways, this was more just rambling. I don't know that this was very profound or productive, But yeah. And also, I think it's reassuring about this YouTube thing too. Because like I said, I think there's certain things in my life that I'm doing that I really believe in and I feel confident in, and this YouTube thing is actually one of them. And I'm not saying like I'm gonna be successful on YouTube necessarily, but I'm thinking like this is a habit that I think serves me. I think I'm putting myself out there. Who knows? Maybe people will find this insightful or interesting at the very least. And I think this is something that I feel confident in doing because I feel like it enriches me in some way. At the very minimum, it makes me sit and think about what happened and kind of like check in with myself a little bit. Honestly, I feel like I've done this before the whole camera, even what, or like before I recorded these and put it on camera or whatever. So it's like, this is nothing new for me. I think this is more of just like a more structured reason for me to like do it more often. So I really appreciate that, and it's again for myself. But yeah, I don't know. The goal, I feel like the goal for this channel is it would be great if it blows up, but that's not my goal here. Like my goal is not to get the most amount of viewers possible. The goal here is to build a skill, learn from my mistakes, and maybe some people can benefit from it. That'd be cool. And maybe that does, in some way circle back to my music career and it helps me out somewhere there. Maybe it gets me some enough, I don't know, enough connections, or like, I make an income from it and eventually I can be creative full time. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know what this channel's about. But or I don't know. I don't necessarily have that goal of like, making this my main thing or anything. But who knows? You never know, right? Like you start doing something and it leads you somewhere else, and you never know where your career lands you. Like my current job right now, I wouldn't have guessed that I would have ended up at a company like this. I had going into college one idea of where my future would be, and look where I am now. Totally different place, but that's okay. I enjoy it. And yeah, I think I can learn to enjoy. I think I've heard it's okay. I'm getting into a little bit of productivity territory here, but it's like I think you become passionate about certain things as you gain mastery to it. And for example, like my job right now, I enjoy it because I feel like I'm gaining mastery at it and it provides a living. Obviously, that's a very important thing that everybody needs. So, anyways, all that to say, I think keep up the music, cool it down, but just I think the biggest takeaway now that I'm thinking about it now is like don't sacrifice everything just to focus on music. These other aspects of your life are very important because when moments like this happen and you feel like, wow, I am not as good as I thought, you're just by yourself. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you don't want to look up one day and realize there's nobody there. So yeah, I think I know that. I think I know that. I just have to, yeah, just have to keep it up. Keep it up. All right. I think that's all for now. Okay. Bye bye.